honey, if I'm going to travel this far, I'm going to definitely bring that.
You remember when you first came here?
I am sitting here like, I'm blown away.
Can you give her a tour? God planted the tree. I said, Miss Ruth, I gotta leave my $250,000 job because God said so.
I thought I had to chase who I was meant to be, but the more I grow, the more I see it's not about a role, a race, or a prize to claim. It's finding peace in my own name, just me becoming serene.
Hello there, beautiful, and welcome to another episode of Becoming Serene with me, Ruth Devanay Southall. It is such a pleasure to have you join us once again. But if this is your first time, please do not forget to subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you will be notified for all of our upcoming episodes. Because remember, this podcast was created just for you, entrepreneur-minded women who want to embrace peace on your journey in pursuit of purpose. So, my dear friends, today is a story of a woman who embodies resilience, faith, and legacy. Her life is a reflection of what it means to turn pain into purpose and allow healing to become a mission that reaches generations. Oh my goodness, from the early days of Silhouette Modeling Agency, where she first worked alongside my husband, T.S., also known as Travell, his real name. Her vision was always bigger than beauty. It was about helping people see the God-given potential within themselves. And guess what else? Years later, when our paths finally crossed, that same heart shined through again. And what began as a collaboration grew into a genuine sisterhood, one built on prayer, encouragement, and purpose. She's even faced life's hardest moments with unwavering grace, raising her children with strength, carrying her late husband Marcelo's memory with love, and transforming her grief into a legacy that continues to inspire. Through every season, she's led with compassion, served with excellence, and built a foundation that reminds others that even after the breaking, beauty still remains. Her story is a living testament that with God, there is no ending, only new beginnings. So it is such an honor to welcome her to Becoming Serene, the one and only, and my absolutely beautiful friend, Niphaphone Laura Robertson.
Thank you.
Welcome. What's so funny is I'm welcome her to Becoming Serene, but guess what? I'm in her studio. We are here at Beautiful Potential Studios and everything else, and we're going to get into that. So, we're finally here, friend. We're finally
Full
here.
circle moment.
Full circle moment. Oh my God.
Yes.
And I love that we're sitting under the sign for Silhouette Creative Studio, which years ago began with Silhouette Modeling Agency. So my beautiful friend, tell us your story beginning at the beginning of how you even got here to America to where we are today, sitting at your Beautiful Potential headquarters.
Oh my goodness. You know, they always say that some people don't look like where they came from. And my story begins way on the other side of the country, in the refugee camps of Thailand, where I was born homeless after my family fled the secret war in Laos, which a lot of people don't know about, which I didn't even know about until I was around, like maybe 10 years ago, 30-something, 35, before I found out the true history of Laos. And So I was born homeless after my family had escaped during the communist invasion of Laos, and we were living in the refugee camps for 2 years, living in the Thai refugee camp for 2 years before we were finally sponsored to come to America. And we could have been to anywhere else, but we ended up in Kingsport, Tennessee. When you are living in the refugee camp, you are basically, living in a dirt road, like just anywhere you pick a spot, right? It's not like where you think, where it's shelter, right?
Right.
You're just like, okay, this is your corner. This is where your family is, just dirt road, but you're like in a barbed wired kind of camp where you can't escape, right? And then you have makeshift housing and, the makeshift camps that are in there with other overcrowded, right, with other people. And so there's scarce in food. So my mom used to talk about how whatever moved was my food.
Wow.
And I was a starving, malnourished child. And when you are a refugee, in order for you to escape, when you are a refugee, in order for you to get out of there, someone from somewhere around the world has to say, I want to sponsor that family. And it was hard for us because we did have a family of 5. And so to take on the responsibility of a whole entire family of 5, we waited 2 years. Before we were finally sponsored. And if you see one of the covers of my book, it's the actual photo of me with the sign that is being sent all over the world. And that would be like an adoption photo, right? It's kind of similar to an adoption photo. It comes with our description and everything. Like, what do they look like? Our pictures. What do they do? What are their hobbies? What are their teeth conditions? Like, seriously, when I finally found out about being a refugee and was able to learn a little bit more, is when I discovered that those were the things inside that form. And so I don't know what part we want to put this, but when I first discovered my history was an accident.
Wow.
My husband, maybe about 7 to 10 years ago, had to write my husband had to write a story or interview someone from out of the country from his elective class. He was attending college, and he had to write and interview someone from out of the country. And when he came to me like, hey, I want to interview you, I had no idea the questions that he was asking. So I picked up the phone and I called my father and I said, Dad, can you answer these questions? I need to know about my history. And he just paused. It was a long, deep pause. And he said, let me give you a phone number for you to call.
What?
Yes. And I said, who is this? And he said, just call this lady. Her name is Jane. And I called this lady and dialed the number, and a lady answered on the other side. And I said, I'm looking for Jane. And she's like, this is Jane. I said, hi, this is Niphaphone, the refugee child that you rescued from the camp. And she just paused. And you could hear her voice. She was speaking with excitement, like, oh my goodness, Niphaphone, I haven't talked to you or seen you in 30-something years. And I said, yes. And I said, the reason for my call is my father gave me your phone number because I wanted to learn a little bit more about my history. And my husband is had to interview someone from out of the country. And my dad said to give you a call. And she was like, I can understand, when you're younger, you don't really want to know about your history, but as you get older, you get a little curious. And she said, give me your address. I'm going to go in my attic and look to see what I could find. 7 days later, she mailed me a package of information that would hold the history that unraveled in front of my eyes. And I sat there and I just one by one, I picked out newspaper clippings, articles, the refugee paperwork, like all this stuff that I was just looking in awe and just crying like a baby. When I learned about my story, it was during the highlight of my years. Like, I was at the highest part of my career. I was, a successful businesswoman, and I'm like, wow, like, this was my history. I was born homeless.
Right.
I was like, this was me. So of course, that prompted more questions. And I'm like, okay. When my dad finally came over to my house, I said, Dad, sit down.
We need to have a conversation.
We need to have a conversation.
I'm about to interview you.
Yes. So with his permission, I hit the record button. And 2 hours I interviewed him. And that's how I was able to get parts of my book, $40 and a Dream. He shared with me the secret war in Laos. And a lot of people don't know about the secret war in Laos, but it was during the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War was the war between the North Vietnam and the South Vietnam. And so because Laos, our country, was a landlocked country in between the South and the North, there was a secret war that happened along the Ho Chi Minh Trail, where the CIA bombed us for 9 entire years. And their reasoning was to keep the South from advancing to the North. And so they bombed us for 9 entire years. And when the war ended, the troops left. And then that left our country very weak, the borders very weak. And the communists invaded our country, took our king, killed him. We never seen him after that, overturned the government, and then captured a lot of people. Like my father was one of them that was held captive. He was a teacher during that time. And at nights, he was being trained by the American soldiers to help fight against the communists invading our country. So he was called one of the freedom fighters.
Wow.
Yes. And so during that time, he knew that things were getting chaotic. So he brought, at the time it was only my 2 brothers that were born, he brought my mother to her family in Thailand with my 2 older brothers and left them there, came back to his teaching position. And mind you, because he was a government employee, worked for the government, he was accused of being a spy by this communist. And so they captured him. They captured my uncles. They captured a lot of people, put them in this, they called it the re-education camp, where they tortured, killed, and a lot of people. But my dad was one of them that made it out alive. My father was one of them that made it out alive. My uncles weren't so lucky. One of them was buried alive in front of the soldiers, in front of the villagers. The other was used as target practice, and so he died. But there's more in my book. So I don't want to give away everything, but there's more in my book. And the reason that I came up with the title for my book is, as my dad is explaining the story to me, he said, we came to America with the $40 that the I think it was the refugee committee, whatever the sponsor, refugee sponsor organization gave us $40 to sponsor our trip. So that's why we didn't have anything other than that. We only had 1 bag of clothes with our whole entire family. We came with shorts, tank top in the middle of winter. It was one of the biggest snowstorms in Chicago that year. It was one of the, I think it was in the history of the biggest storm, and we only had sandals, shorts, and a tank top. And that's how we came. And with $40, which is why I named my book $40 and a Dream. Came here, I came as a malnourished child, my picture's in the front of the book, unable to speak English, growing up in Elgin, Illinois. When we first came, of course, we went to Tennessee because that's where our sponsors were. Found out we had family, we came to Elgin. And so I grew up here in Elgin, right down the street from where we are today, only about 10-minute drive away. I grew up in a cockroach-infested, run-down, 2-bedroom apartment, living with 7 to 14 people at any given time. Because as we found out that we had other relatives that were trying to escape, we would sponsor one by one. We would sponsor one by one and brought them here.
That is absolutely amazing. Oh, my God. Hello, beautiful. I am so glad that you have decided to watch another episode of Becoming Serene. We cannot do this without you, but I need you to subscribe now. Not just subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share your favorite episode with one of your friends, because we want to grow our community and we cannot do it without you. Thank you so much. And until next time, always stay serene. And especially being that I know you now, and I know this story, but I promise you, every time I hear it, it's something new that unfolds. Yes. And what would you say from that experience? Because you remember so much. That's what's amazing to me. You remember so much. But what in you, after your dad told you the story, even after you got the newspaper clippings, not many people will say, I need our story to be told. I need the louse, just whole, all of us story to be told. Because like you said, you couldn't find it anywhere else. Had your dad not led you to, you know what, go ahead, you have questions, I get it. So many other people possibly would have buried it, but it's something in you and about you, Laura, that I know. When you know something, you feel that everyone else needs to know it as well to empower them.
Absolutely. Well, I felt like if I didn't know, a lot of people didn't know either. And like my dad said, you know, it was kept a secret till the 90s. So that's why it became my passion to share our story of, you know, to share our story so that it can help, of course, allow community also know about the history and stuff, but just to see who else can relate to me, just to see who else I can inspire, and not even just if you're a refugee or not, but just by the resilience and the rags to riches, right? Like the story of that, to hope that it can relate to someone and give them hope, so that they can also know that dreams can come true.
But who sparked the idea or thought that you need to put this in a book?
Oh, gosh. So during the time when I learned about my story, it was when I was working for my corporate job. And I was working downtown, and I ended up running into a bestseller author, which I didn't know at the time he was a bestseller author. A lot of times people see me and they're like, oh, where'd you come from? And that opens the door. And of course, I was like excited at the time because I had just learned about my story.
Let me tell you.
Let me tell you what I found out, you know? And so that was when I just learned my story. And then he was like, whoa. He was like, I'm a bestseller author. And you like, your story is so powerful. You need to write a book. And that's how the seed was planted, like, okay, maybe I need to write a book, but I just never knew how to do it or what to do with it. So I sat on it for a little while, you know, and then till I finally found a publisher that helped me publish my first book.
And then from there, we are, like you said, you are already living the American dream, but you found out, you know, who you are and from where you've come, and now you want to empower others. And then that, like, literally spun into so many other things. Now, you were already entrepreneurial minded because, you know, we've had background conversation about you selling candy when you were younger and everything, and then holding down 2 or 3 jobs in your early teen years, like before you can actually gainfully be employed. But 13, 14, 15, you're doing everything possible to make your own money. Like you said, because of your meager beginnings, you're like, you know what? Let me just make my own.
Myself.
No more hand-me-downs for me.
Exactly.
And then you know, you even began an amazing modeling agency, which is how you met my husband, T.S., and was like helping other women just basically become faces of products and events and everything. Girl, you were just a socialite queen until you met your fabulous husband, Marcelo. Yes. And then you did the corporate thing and everything. What brought you back to entrepreneurism?
Yes. It was when I realized my story. I kept having different men and women of God approaching me like, this isn't where you need to be, and you need to go and share your story, and you need to start your own platform, and all of this just. And at the time, it was while I was working for a corporate job, and I was at the time making $213,000.
Honey, I know
so
that's
if you
right.
can imagine looking at my check for $20,000 in my 2-week check, knowing that once upon a time, as a single mother, struggling on welfare, like that's what I made in one
Annually,
year,
yes.
annually. So I'm like, and this is like a 2-week check, and I'm just like, man.
With no formal education at all.
Right, at the time, yes.
For this position
Yes.
and everything, it was just, go
It's
ahead, just
crazy.
favor.
Yeah.
Continue.
So it sparked something inside of me to start my own business, to leave corporate. And it was just, I just felt led to it, right? Especially after hearing my story. I feel like after I heard my story, it sparked something inside of me that, oh my goodness, I need to do more with this.
Wow.
I need to share this. And God kept sending me the message through different means and through different people. And one of the ladies that I met during my course of my last year at my corporate career, I worked for a dental implant company. And this particular client came in and she didn't even need implants. So I'm like, she only needed teeth cleaning, but she was like, again, she's like, where are you from? What are you? And then I shared my story, and that's when she was like, oh, I'm a prophetess, and I see you inside of a building, and women standing outside waiting to come hear your story. I'm like, here we go again, like with the story, And so I was just like, oh, okay, let's wait for the doctor. And so anyways, fast forward to 3 years later when I did already have my book out, and I was a keynote speaker for an event. I stood I stood inside of a building looking outside, seeing women lined up, and she particularly said women.
Yes.
Lined up to hear my story because I was a keynote speaker for Our Daily Bread Ministries, and I had a book signing there as well. And that's when I shared my story, and it just brought me back to that conversation. So I felt like God, in different ways, was telling me that this is your path. This is what you need to do. And then one day, I was driving home from work. It was late, 8 o'clock at night, and I had called Miss Ruth. I called Miss Ruth because I'm like, man, I said, this name just came out of nowhere. God showed me that I'm supposed to open a business called Beautiful Potential. And I said, let's break it down. Say it slowly. And I had goosebumps as I'm like sharing this with you. I was so excited.
I remember.
I said, let me find who will get excited with me. And I'm like, your name came. I'm like, who's going to get excited with me? So I called you and I said, God told me I have to leave my job to start this business called Beautiful Potential. And if you break it down and say it slowly, it's be you to full potential. And I'm supposed to help other people, particularly women, to become their potential.
Yes.
And that's when I gave my 2-week notice, and then I left. December 19th was my very last day.
With no blueprint or anything.
Nothing.
But what I love so much about just God's timing is this is before a pandemic hit our country.
Yes.
But you came to this facility, and I remember it well. I remember making the pilgrimage out here. When you were like, we're going to do this. And I was watching you on social media, building, putting everything together, painting and everything. And, the old adage is, if you build it, they will come. And you were doing just that.
Yeah,
you
I
were
built
following God's plan and being obedient. He's like, now do this. And then when people called and asked for whatever services, you're like, sure. Yeah, we do it.
Yeah, we do it.
We do
what
it
do you
now.
need? Okay. Like, what do you do photography? Yes, we do.
We got a camera.
Let's
I can
book
get a
it, and I would intentionally book it a week out because I'm like, I gotta YouTube it because I gotta learn how to do photography
Absolutely
now.
amazing. And everything around here that is done. Every book, every book cover, everything from this point on, you have created, designed. And what I love so much is, again, it is you responding to the needs of women. And it just continues to evolve because as we already know, our needs change.
Yes.
And especially through and during the pandemic, people were losing their jobs. So now they're
Yes.
becoming self-employed. They
Absolutely.
were needing to
Yes.
learn how to work virtually. They were still needing to show up. And now they have to look good on camera.
Yes.
And now they have to present themselves. And Laura, I commend you. Honestly, I've been watching and praying and cheering you on and encouraging. It's really crazy because you come up on my feed all the time. But of course, that's the algorithm. Like,
Yes.
we already know you all love each other. So when I'm on, you
Yes.
see me. And when you're
Yes.
on, I see you.
Absolutely.
But friend, seriously, what would you say is something that you felt necessary, like to keep digging in and keep creating? Because someone else, like with different, I know parts of your journey is like, oh my God, now what? When your mom passed, you were just like, oh my God, now what am I going to do? You just
Exactly.
like, okay, like I grieve and this is what I'm going to do in her honor, in her legacy. Everything is
Absolutely.
legacy for
Yes,
you.
It is. It is. It is. To leave a legacy, to share what I can while I'm here, right? Because life is too short. As I dealt with, my husband and his cancer journey, now even more, I'm going even more full force into
Yes.
it. And like, not taking any minute for granted and just making sure that I am leaving an imprint here, and also making sure that when I leave here, my kids and grandkids, like
Yes.
generations to come, is able to reap the benefit of what I'm doing now. And not just my family, other family,
Yes.
because I know that my vision that God gave me is more than just about me, more than just about my family. I am going through this vision. It is going to impact many more lives.
Oh,
Just
God,
like, for
yes.
example, and during the pandemic, it wasn't easy. I'm not going to say it was easy, because there were times where I couldn't use the space, right? And, oh, hey, Lord, what next? What next? So I ended up having to pivot while I'm waiting to be able to open up. I'm still paying the lease every month. I had to sell my rental home to be able to continue to pay the lease every month. Why? Because I knew that this dream is bigger than me. This vision is bigger than me. And I know for a fact that God gave me this vision, and I knew that He was going to take care of me all the way around, right? So I continued to hold on to my faith and continue to do whatever it takes to keep this open.
Yes.
And now it has become a very important stepping stone to other women
Yes.
who are renting suites.
Yes.
Most of them are single mothers, right, that have been able to feed their family
Yes.
because I stayed faithful in what God has given to me and the vision that He's given to me. I stayed faithful to that. So I knew that other people's legacy and other
Yes.
people's vision and dreams is tied to my actions.
That's the truth.
And so that is why I continue to keep moving forward. It wasn't easy, and it still isn't easy, but I kept it moving.
You are definitely more than a trailblazer to me. This is
Thank you.
a hub of hope that
Yes.
I
I
mean,
like
just
that name.
I know, it
Hey,
literally
that
just
could be
came to me.
another
Here
hub
she
of
goes.
hope.
Here she goes.
There's another branding idea.
Goes.
Hub of hope.
Right, because it
Yes,
is.
yes.
You have taken way more than lemons and turned it into lemonade. You have literally turned all types of breaking into blessings, and not, like you said, just for you and your family, but
Yes,
for others. In the midst of one of the worst times in your life with your husband's diagnosis, who goes and writes a book during it? Like, you know what, cancer, you can't have him. He's taken. And
Yes.
you all were in the middle of a podcast, and you were still pouring into other women. You were still doing the fashion shows for domestic violence. Like, you did not stop. And even in his transition, as everyone was still praying for healing, God healed him as only He can in His way. And from even that, you were like, no, we're still going to continue what it was that Marcelo and I wanted to fulfill. Like, you opened up your health and wellness cafe, and then sparked into so many other things. And now, friend, with everything else going on, from list everything, because if I start listing like beautiful potential,
goodness.
now
houses.
Yes.
How many different businesses and opportunities to employ people and empower people?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this, yes. And like what you touched on, yes, continuing my husband's legacy, right? And so this month will be a year from his stage 4 cancer diagnosis. And that was a turning point to me living intentionally. Seeing my husband go through what he went through, October 18th was the day that he was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, which had metastasized to his brain. And at the time, we were told that he had less than 1 year to live. Well, he was told that. He kept it from me. I happened to find out through a doctor's note, through snooping through like doctor's notes, and I found out that he didn't want the wife to know yet unless it's when it's time, like for hospice, right? So he kept it from me, but I saw it, and it made sense, the things that he was going through and the things that he was sharing with me that he wanted me to do. And he started listing all of these things. I want to write a book, which was very brave of him, because my husband, if you knew my husband, he's very private. And so I was like, you want to do what? I want to write a book. And hurry up. He was rushing me and all these things that I couldn't figure out. He was like, come on, we don't know how much time I have. And the whole time he was keeping from me that the doctor said to him that he had less than 1 year to live. But we weren't hanging on to that even after I found out, you're still in denial because you're like, no, can't be. People fight this and they beat it all the time, so we were hanging on to that hope. But cancer took him in 6 months. But in that 6 months, he had a list of things for me to do. So I'm like, you got to look down and help me because you got me busy over here. Yes. He had a list of things for me to do. Open the wellness bar in his honor to make sure that people take care of their health and that make sure that people get checked because he checked too late, right? He ignored the signs. And like most people do, he's scared of the hospital, so he didn't want to know what was wrong. He always said, I'm scared of hospitals. People don't come out when they go there, and so that kept him away from finding out sooner. And so he wanted to change that. He wanted to promote health and wellness. He told me that he wanted me to continue this year. He wanted me to open a media studio for other people to be able to empower them to share their stories. He is very passionate about marketing and about branding and about helping people to start, launch, and grow their business. So that's why I'm continuing on his legacy here. And then he also wanted me to open up a networking.
Yeah, he did have a long list.
Yeah, networking. Yes, I have text messages. This is the logo that I want you to have. Yes, you need to do. That's why I came up with the Sunday. So now every Sunday, I have 3 to 6. We have the Soul Sis podcast live here. It's live recording while people are upstairs of the wellness bar. They sit and watch, and we focus on health. We focus on healing. I even have a therapist on site. And so that was what my husband, he made sure, even on his deathbed, ordered this massage chair. He had it on my cart, my Amazon cart. You need to order, even though he was on his deathbed, this is priority. Make sure you order this massage chair so when people come and order their drinks, they're making sure they take a break and take care of their health. And they sit there for 15 minutes or however long they need and get a massage so they can unplug and worry about their health and think about their health. And so every Sunday from 3 to 6, we have different people donating their time, food, vendors. We have therapists come on site to donate their time, and then business, entrepreneurs can come and network. So his vision is Well Connected is the name of the networking group that he wanted me to create and launch. And so I'm incorporating with our Soul Sis. And so we had a podcast together called Blasian Soul, as you know. And with me being Asian, him being black, the show is Blasian Soul Podcast, highlighting leaders and entrepreneurs from the Black and Asian community. And so, of course, with him being passing away, I ended up, God showed me to rebrand. And it rebranded into Soul Sis, which means strength and sisterhood, which I'm doing with 2 of my sisters, Carlotta as well as Dominatrix. And the three of us, we just ended up forming a bond. And I wanted to show through our podcast that three women from three minority backgrounds can come together and share their struggles, but also share inspiration, that we can work together, but we can also empower a community.
Most definitely.
From all of our, like, I can impact the Asian community, Latina community,
Yes.
the African American community. Like, we don't have to do it alone, and we don't have to be like, oh no, you're not with us, or no, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
most
it's
definitely.
we can be better together. And so
Oh,
that's
yes.
why that's what Soul Sis is all about. Strength and sisterhood. That's what the SIS is. And the
Yes.
ironic part of that is all three of us had just recently came out of a 20-year relationship.
Wow.
Voluntarily or involuntarily, right? Me was involuntarily. They ended up in divorce, which led them here. And so we just found that sisterhood in each other
Yes.
because we found strength. Like, our synergy is crazy when we're
I
together.
already
The
know.
three of us.
Yes.
It's
Wow.
the energy for me, and it's just beautiful. And people, they look like, okay, there's a Black girl and Asian girl that's like friends, or a Latina girl. Like,
I love
it's,
it.
It's something that you don't see very often.
No, and it's necessary.
It's so necessary.
It is so necessary.
Because we are better together.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, just in case you did not know,
Yes.
but our show focuses on how faith, family, and focus shapes who we are. And so
Yes.
you've hit on all of those
Yes.
points so beautifully. But one of the
So
things I want to
beautiful.
always, girl, everything's so beautiful.
So beautiful.
One of the things I want to ask you, my
Yes.
darling, is with your dad's story and your uncles and everything, the resilience and just, oh my God, the tenacity, everything it took to get his entire family here, and then to continue to sponsor others. Like, your
Yes.
father continues to reach back. It's like, no, like, I know you got those things from him,
Yeah.
but what else would you say are some
Yeah.
huge takeaways that
Yeah.
you can definitely attribute to your dad?
My dad, he was just always giving. He taught me a lot, because he was a teacher. So he's always teaching me different
Yes.
things. And I learned a lot about him, I take on a lot of his traits, his kindness. Sometimes, sometimes like, okay, why am I so giving? It's
Yes.
because of my dad. And I just commend him for everything that he's done to sacrifice for the family. And, coming from being a teacher to having to take on a new skill to now having to work hard in a factory because he couldn't be a teacher because of language barrier, right?
Oh,
and
yes.
so having to work so hard for all those years for the family. And so that's where I get my hard work from, right? And it's like, but one thing that my dad has always taught me as a teacher, education is very important. And that's why I'm a forever student. That's why if there's something that I want to learn, I'm going to YouTube it, or I'm going to take classes until I get it. And I think those qualities of being a forever student is what really helped shape me into what I do today. Like, everything is figure outable, right?
Oh God, yes.
And so, that's one of the things that my dad, I take away from him.
I love that so
Yes.
much. As a matter of fact, I remember coming here when you first moved here and was putting things together. Your dad was right there with you. Like, he was on the floor laying tile and painting everything with you. That's my fondest memory of him, too. So, friend, I myself, when I think about, being called to do something, I'm like, God, me? Like, I don't
Yes.
feel equipped or whatever.
Right.
What word or scripture or just promise from God do you stand on that you know He's with you?
Well, because I feel like every season of my life, whether it's, the hard seasons or the slow seasons or the struggles,
Right.
I feel like it's all ordained, right? It's all for a reason, and it all shapes you to where you are today. So one of the things that I also share in my book is my life and my up and down and my stories of where I got to where I am and what built me to today. One of the things is as I share in my book, growing up, I grew up, in a Lao household as a refugee with refugee parents, going to the temple. Everything was all about culture and Lao culture, right? So that's all I knew up until I grew up, got a little bit older, had a little more like American friends.
Right.
And so growing up, I was, of course, like bullied for being too Asian. And so then as I got older and older, I became more Americanized. I started becoming bullied for being too Asian. And so that led me in a really dark path, but I think it was necessary. That dark path led me to becoming a very destructive teen, and I ran away. And I think that this is where I got my strength from.
Wow.
During the hardest, toughest times of my life is where I gained my strength.
Wow.
And so I felt like it had to happen, though. When I ran away, I was taken in by a black family,
Yes.
Mama Sonia, right? So I went from eating sticky rice and beef jerky to now going to an all-black school with metal detectors,
Yes.
living in the hood.
Yes.
Like, what's going on down
Right.
there? Like,
Exactly.
to Mama Sonia being really strict, but loving, right? She cared about me. She loved on me.
Yes.
And she showed me how to have a backbone, how to speak up for myself. Whereas growing up with my refugee parents, they came from a fear-based communist country. So they weren't able to pass on that trait to me. So they taught me to be quiet. Don't talk about your problems. Don't share what's going on in the house and, that kind of stuff. But I think that having that backbone and having Mama saying, oh no, don't let them get away with that, helped me to break through the bamboo ceiling, and it helped me to become a corporate leader because I was able to talk back. I was able to demand my salary. I was able to speak up when I was passed over for a promotion or if I was treated unfairly. I had a voice. And it is because of my struggles that led me to being raised by Mama Sonia, being raised by a family that allowed me to help me to love myself, that I'm able to get to where I am. Not to discredit, of course, my parents because, they're the ones that gave me life.
Yes.
But that had to happen in order for me to get to where I am today. God allowed that to happen in order to get me to where I am today. So whatever you're facing in life, just embrace it. Embrace it because God has a plan. And sometimes what happens to you is happening for you. And I truly believe in that. I truly believe in that. And instead of saying, why me? My thing is, what now?
Wow.
What now? What are you teaching me? What now? What
Yes.
do I do now?
I promise you,
You know.
yes, I feel the exact same way because even knowing your story and everything you've experienced, I'm just always in awe. Like I say that to you, I text it to you. That's what I comment. It's like I just stay in awe of you, honestly and truly, because whenever you're given a God idea, and I'm gonna call it a God
it
idea
is.
because sweetheart,
It
you go
is.
to work.
It is.
I remember every single thing that you told me. You're like, yeah, Ruth. So, Marcelo and I are going to start a podcast. And I'm like, that's a nice idea. Okay. Next time I go online, your podcast pop up. I said, oh, it's done.
there, yeah.
And then you've created the logo. You've created the aesthetics. You have and you're like, okay, here we
got
go.
this.
Like its name
Yes.
is this. And I'm just like, I'm still thinking about what I told you I was thinking about. Like, I'm still thinking about it.
Yes.
But you
I do,
literally
yeah, I do.
see it and you're a visionary. You are a doer. Like I said, you're more than a
Thank
trailblazer,
you.
and it's exceptional. So you were doing these things, my darling, over 20 years ago, before AI, before like all of these super, we don't have to think long about it, resources were even invented. So what would be another message that you would leave for our viewers to say, hey, look at these things that you're equipped with. What are you waiting for?
I would say, and I just told somebody this the other day that I was coaching with.
Because, she does that
I
too.
do business. Yes, because you don't want to operate in a realm of the lack of, right? Because
scarcity.
You don't want to operate in the realm of scarcity, because you'll have more scarcity. You'll have more of it, because whatever you're focusing on, you're going to get more of that, right? And, manifesting is real. Believing is real. Fake it till you make it. Psych yourself out until you make it. Think of what you want, the vision board, whatever. Put it in front of you until it becomes your reality.
Right.
And that's what I do. I just speak it like upstairs, with the wellness bar.
Yes.
Last year, around this same time, the walls were dark, black. And I was just like, because my husband at that time had just lost his job. He was working a 6-figure job, and I was working the business. But, you need nowadays with a huge family, you need income, right? So I had negative 300 to my name last year, and I said, I'm going to open a wellness bar.
Nobody but you.
Yes, so I'm going to open negative $300 to my name, because we're like, okay, what do we do now? So I reached out to my friend, Percy, who owns MVP Nutrition. And I said, I want to open a wellness bar. This is before I even found out he had cancer. God showed me this vision that my walls were going to be pink, right? My girlfriend Dee was with me. Everyone I came in contact with, I'm going to open a wellness bar. And God showed me it's going to be pink walls with green grass on the walls. This is what he showed me. Negative $300 something. And I called Percy. I said, hey, I don't know how much money I need to open this thing that you have over there, but God showed me this is what I needed to do. And he came up with how much I needed. And I said, okay. Well, let me see. I have these things that I could sell. Maybe this will go for $30. Yes, I have the spreadsheet still. I share with him the spreadsheet. I said, maybe some of this furniture up here that I'm not using, I could sell this for $100. How much more do I need?
This is like the widow with a little bit of oil and flour in the house. You better use what you have.
I said, yes, you better use what you have and stop operating from a
that
point of,
mindset.
I don't have this. I can't do this because I don't have the. Start where you are, because, and doesn't have to be perfect. Start where you are, because your resources will come. The next step will come. You never know. If God gave you a vision, he's going to provide. He's going to give you that provision.
Every time.
Whenever he gives you a vision, because you don't have to even worry. I didn't have to worry about it. Everything just started coming.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you have the vision, he'll give the provision. That's right.
Yep. He will send the people.
Oh my God, that's
to
a word.
You. Yeah, he will.
Oh,
and you don't have to
goodness.
be like, I can't do this until this is done. It doesn't have to be perfect. You got to perfect it along the way.
Yes.
Half stepping. Like when I first started, do you do photography? Yeah, I do.
Right.
I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, let's book it a week out.
Right.
Let me YouTube it. Let me see how I could practice. Let me practice a couple shots.
Yes, and they'll be all right. Like,
they'll be all right.
Just
And they loved it.
Girl, I'm sure.
And they loved it. They never knew. Nobody
you're a
would
consummate
know.
professional on top of that. So you are an author, you are a speaker, you are a coach, and then okay, people, I'm trying to wrap this up, but there's so many things. She's so multifaceted.
Oh, no.
You have to follow her. She's gonna give you all of her handles and where you can follow her and everything.
Yes.
But when did you start designing dolls? Like, where did that even come from?
Oh, wow. So with my dolls, I designed my dolls when I made this book, when Noy's Journey to Belonging.
Yes. Your children's book.
Yes,
like, because now she wants to educate children. Of course, she has children and grandchildren.
Yes.
So, yes.
So my children's book, I was like, how can I get my message of belonging from my adult book into a children's book so that I can teach children that no matter if they're different, they could still do what they wanted. No matter if they were born homeless, they could still do whatever they want, right? They could still live out their dreams. And so that's how I came up with Noy's Journey to Belonging. Noy is my nickname, which means little girl.
Yes.
And even as a grandma, my dad still calls me little girl.
Aww.
So that's my nickname from my dad.
Sweet.
Inang Noy, which is the little girl. I'm like, okay, I'm a grandma now, Dad. You can stop calling me little girl.
God,
but
so
yes,
sweet.
he still calls me Noy. And so one day I got bored. It was probably
How?
Was it during the pandemic?
How were you
I don't
bored?
know. I just got bored. I was like, when I get an idea, it's just the weirdest thing. When I get an idea, just like this book, I wrote it in one day. So this one I did it, the illustration, I stayed up all night, and when I have an idea, I get really, I think it's like, it's
a great
it's just
attribute.
Yes,
like,
I guess.
Man.
Call it ADD, I don't know.
That's the best form of it.
I'm like, that's my superpower, right?
It definitely is.
You know, so I said, ooh, let me get a doll to go with this book, because you know how like the American Dream doll, whatever,
girl doll,
the American
yes.
Girl doll. They have a book with their
Yeah.
dolls, so let me make one. I just wanted to make one, so I YouTubed it again.
Yeah.
I got some sample dolls.
Yes.
And then I just started trial and error. I just started like piecing some things together. I ordered a Barbie doll, and then I wiped out her face and made her Asian.
Wow.
I put up her hair.
Oh my God.
And then I was like, wait, let me see if there's other mock-up dolls, because I can't use Mattel dolls.
Yes,
So I
exactly.
had to order I had to research it and order like bulk mock-up dolls that I can use for myself. And that's when I started. I made only one.
When I'm bored, I go to
When
sleep.
I made one, yeah, if I'm bored, I stay up. No.
What?
So I made one doll, and it just got crazy attention. And then people thought I was actually making it to sell. So they're like, where can I order? Where's the website? Oh, hold on. In a one day I made a website.
She was like,
Here's
a
your
website?
order link. Yeah, here's your order link. In one day I made a website. I'm like, you could order from here, right?
So here we go, people.
Yeah.
So as usual, like I follow Laura. She's my friend. So up comes some dolls. Not only does she have a website, she has a commercial, and she's showing these dolls. And I'm like, Laura's like ordering dolls from a doll maker no. Laura
it by
shows
hand.
video of her
Making it
drawing
by
faces and doing their hair and making their clothes. Who does that? Like, she took her cosmetology skills to a whole
Yes.
nother freaking level.
At least the dolls don't talk back.
Oh. Let's hope they don't. Have you not seen those? Oh my God. That's another story.
Yes. But then people started wanting them.
What?
And then I'm like, I still have dolls from a year ago.
She's mass producing these dolls.
By myself.
By
but I'm
herself.
finally, but I have dolls from a year ago, but these doll orders came in when my husband had his
know.
cancer.
Yeah.
The dolls you saw upstairs, people have waited a year for them.
They
I
tend to
asked
be
them if
just
they want
most treasured.
refunds.
They don't want
and they're like,
refunds.
no, I want the doll. So
Right.
I'm like, okay, it's going to take a minute because I've got this going on, that going on. My husband's
cannot.
fighting for his life. And they understood, and they're like, we'll wait for him. So I'm slowly but surely getting these dolls done. But then now I'm like, how can I get them to more households? Because they've been to New Zealand, they've been to Canada, they've been everywhere. But I'm like, how can I mass produce them? So now I'm working with a company that's helping me to mass produce, but it's like I'm working back and forth with feedback to make sure they get them just the way I want it. So,
There are no excuses, people. Just absolutely no excuses. Like, some of you have the simplest of
my
ideas and
gosh.
things that you're supposed to do.
Yes.
And this woman has built this empire, and oh my God.
it's purpose over pressure.
Purpose
Purpose
over
over pressure.
pressure.
Purpose over
I
pleasure.
love
Staying
that.
aligned with what God's purpose is for
Yes.
you. No matter what
Yes.
life brings to you, no matter what pressures that you whenever, no matter what pressure you're under,
Yes.
you have to keep your eye and focus on your purpose. Everything else will fall in line. Everything else will come together.
Right. Is there anything that you've ever
Yeah.
thought that you thought it was ridiculous? Like, okay, God, seriously. No.
Oh, everything.
Really?
Everything. I'm
Are
like,
you
are you
kidding
sure? Yes. I'm like, well, first the leaving my job. Right?
Oh,
Like,
well, yeah.
and then it's like, okay, Lord, what else? And so when that idea of the braid school came about was 4 years ago,
Right.
and I was bored again. I was searching up rules and regulations, online, and all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, the braider program, there's a braider program that you can go for 12 weeks. And you can get your license, and I have to go through the whole cosmetology program. God said, I need you to open this up. But it wasn't the right timing at that time, and I needed the space for it because I couldn't do it in the space I had. So, so now that now that their space opened up here,
Yes.
I asked my landlord, how many spaces do you have? He was like, well, this and this and this and this is open. I'll take all of them.
No one but you.
So now I have 7 suites in here that is going to be building everything under Beautiful Potential umbrella. Because Beautiful Potential is beauty, branding, and business coaching.
Yes.
Right? And not only that, it's more than just hair. It's more than just beauty. It's more than just branding. It's more of empowerment. It's more of helping people believe in themselves and reaching their potential. So we do a lot of nonprofit work. I do a lot of nonprofit work. One of them is the domestic violence. Domestic violence awareness, which we are. If I don't know when you'll be showing this, but probably not before Sunday.
Right.
Okay.
It'll be after.
After. Okay.
But yes.
So, so one of the things is our annual domestic violence awareness
I'll be able to
fashion show.
footage from it.
Yep.
Yes.
And then, so we have that annually, and the other is just empowering the youth through art, and we have like the podcast. The Media Studio Creative Studio here, which we do plan to help the youth to share their stories. And we have this nonprofit that we also work with, that empowering youth voices. And we record content and allowing kids to express themselves, right? And those are the kind of things that we want to do here, is to also involve the children, involve the youth, involve the teens. I do also speak in different organizations to teen girls and sometimes, boys, but mostly women and girls. And so I'm actually going to be speaking to the Math and Science Academy this month. But yeah, that's all. I want to get into as many schools, as many different places as I can to share my story, to share what we're doing, and also to help other people reach their full potential.
So this is literally, we do not have enough time to share everything that you have done, that you are doing, and that you're even going to do. Because, friend, you even have, we didn't even talk about, but she even has a beauty supply store.
Yes, the beauty supply store coming.
The school, the Braden School and everything. Yes.
Braden Nail
there
School.
Anything else that you even have on the horizon? Because I know you. When those things open, like you totally see. Wow.
But I do want to say this though. Number one, I give credit to God for allowing all this to happen, but also allowing the right people in my life, right? Because I don't do this alone. I do this with the support that I have, other people that God has brought into my life that believes in my vision, like my sisters and, other people like I have a manager now that's running the beauty supply and the beauty school. I have different people in place that's actually helping to bring this vision to life. So it's not all just me doing it. The creative part, yes, I love that, right? It's like my therapy. Art is my therapy. And so, but, what do we have coming up? So we have Carlotta and Dominatrix. They will be, also having their businesses here. So it's a collaboration. Carlotta has a transportation business where, part of our mission with domestic violence, her transportation company, She Moves Transport. So it's also going to help with that, as well as giving women and or men that are dealing with domestic violence a chance to develop skills that will help them be financially free, or the skills and resources that will help them get out of that situation, and also empower them to have a voice through the book writing, or through helping them publish their book, or through their podcasting and different things to be able to help heal the community.
Oh my goodness. Well, Listen, listeners, I know that you all have gotten so much information and just felt her heart, her spirit, and everything that Laura pours into everyone she comes in contact with. Do you see why she is such a blessing to others and me and everyone else that ever comes in your space? Friend, you know, I know that God can trust you. He knows that he can trust you with whatever he's given you to do. You've proven that. Like, you are not one to bury your talent.
Yeah.
You took what he gave you and you've multiplied it time and time again. So I commend you. It is such an honor and pleasure to know and to love you and to learn so much from you. Like, I am always and still am in awe of you. And I'm just so glad that our paths have crossed and that we're able to do life together still. But yeah.
Your TS have been holding back all these years.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But
that
you know
was
the full
insane.
circle moment?
Yes.
20?
Yeah, that.
Was it 25 years ago?
Wow.
When I had silhouette modeling and marketing, when me and TS worked together, and he was my photographer, trailing along in the stretch limo with all of us and taking our photos. Now we have your son behind the camera. That's such a full circle moment. Now we have your son behind the camera.
Yes, that
my
is.
goodness.
I love it.
In
God
Silhouette Studio.
Right. Again, right when you named that.
Full
It
circle.
could have been any
It
other
could have been
time.
anything.
I've literally had this podcast for 6 months, but it's not until you get the sign on the wall.
The sign up. Now you're like, let me go do it.
That is so true.
Yes.
That's so true.
Yep.
I love you and
you
I
more.
appreciate
Thank
you,
you.
and I hope and pray that you all take so many important nuggets from this conversation, and one of them being that there are absolutely no excuses. And just continue to have purpose over pressure. I love that, friend. I love that. Well, tell all of our listeners and friends how they can follow you, where to find you, where to get your books, your dolls, your everything, your coaching, your speaking, all of that.
So my personal website is laura-robertson.com. My handles, my social media handles are Laura Empowers. It's Laura, Laura, Empowers, EMPOWHERS. Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on TikTok, LinkedIn. And then my business, Beautiful Potential, is beautifulpotential.com. And then my podcast is soulsispodcast.com.
So if you're ever in the Elgin area, please come and see this absolutely amazing space and definitely come enjoy the health and wellness cafe and bar. Like, oh my God, it's delicious and beautiful. And don't forget, on Sundays, honey, you'll also be a live studio audience member. And then when you do get your smoothies, don't forget that 15-minute massage in the chair. Thank you, Marcella.
Oh, yeah. He had it in my cart. Did you get that yet? Did you order that yet?
Wow. Still thinking of others.
He was. Yep. That's how
amazing.
he's always been.
Absolutely amazing. You all were indeed, still are, a power couple that continues to impact generations upon generations. God is going to honor that and so much more. I love you, beautiful friend. Thank you. This is just the first of many more conversations. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. All right, friends. Thank you all so much for watching Becoming Serene once again. And you know what I'm about to say? If you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Go ahead, hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you will continue to be notified when other episodes are dropping. And as always, until next time, friends, stay serene. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.